And good morning to everybody on Drizzle Land and all around YouTube and the millions upon millions of people all around the world. So I just recently watched a really good documentary. There's an experimental cancer treatment drug that's out right now called Latraxin. It is by Bayer, and they've had lots of success so far with this. Uh, it is 95% proven that people who use this drug end up being almost completely cured within 7 to 8 months. Now, you do have to have a certain type of cancer with this drug, but they've already tested it in Seattle, Washington, and a few other places on the West Coast, and they've had a lot of successes with it. They're trying to get it totally approved by the medical field to be able to use this all over the country and probably eventually all over the world. I think that this is really great, honestly, because this is something that should have happened eons ago. Um, I watched my grandmother, my grandfather, and several people who I knew that I grew up with suffer with cancer and having to use chemo and radiation therapy. And it was not good. They were not, very healthy in any form of way. They were losing their hair, they were getting stomach conditions, they couldn't eat, they couldn't sleep. That's not any way to live, and we needed to figure out other ways to be able to cure cancer and kick its ass. And I think when I hear things like this proves that people really do care and want to try to treat, disease. And I think that those people should be really commended for their study, research, and therapy. Um, and I just want to point that out that that this drug is starting to have mainstream in the medical field, and I feel like this is something that should have happened a long time ago. Um, the other thing I wanted to point out too was they recently finally had an interview with Amanda Bynes, and I grew up an Amanda Bynes fan. I grew up with Nickelodeon and her on the Amanda Show and a few of the other things that she was involved in. Her movie career and What I Like About You was one of my favorite shows. And she was basically just saying the reason why all this stuff happened in her life was because she got hooked on Adderall and hardcore drugs basically because she couldn't handle the public eye at a young age. I mean, she's saying that she started doing, those types of drugs when she was 16 years old. The reason why she retired was because it got so overwhelming that she couldn't physically be on camera because she was embarrassed of how she looked and who she, was playing in her roles in the movies. And what I want to say in this situation is at 32 years old, she's just now being clean and basically trying to take care of their situation. Um, and I think what I really want to say about this is good for her. Good for her. She wants to get back into acting. She wants to, help the youth basically realize that popping pills and taking hardcore drugs basically are is not the way to go. Um, and I think that she's going to do a lot of good in this situation because also look at Joe, Jodie, from Full House, the girl that played Stephanie. She had a horrible drug addiction issue too. When she was in her teens and early 20s before she got her life, switched around and became, who she is now. Um, Lots of childhood actors had really bad drug issues at young ages because they experienced evil of Hollywood and what it did to their lives. I mean, I can think of a lot of other people, for example, like Miley Cyrus. Um, I mean, look at what happened to her. Um, and then you have to consider like Macaulay Culkin. Um, I mean, there's just so many people we can name off here that, I mean, those people later on in life, if anything, they changed their whole entire aspect, and they've done a lot of good, with helping other people. And I think that that's what Amanda Bynes is trying to make people realize here is that, you know, yeah, I did some really horrible things, and I retired at a young age because of these issues, and I was embarrassed, and now she's trying to do the right thing, and I commend her for that. So, so yeah.